continuing Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Schedule Incarnation, and we try to understand Shloka Kramanka 31 and 32. In this Shloka, we can understand about the how Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo 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 Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भगवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी. हरे कृष्ण. श्लोक क्रमांक 31 and 32. नंदं च मोक्षति भयात् वरुणस्य पाशात्.
नंदं च मोक्षति भयाद् वरुणस्य पाशात्.
गोपान् बिलेषु पिहितान् मयसूनुना च.
गोपान् बिलेषु पिहितान् मयसूनुना च.
अन्ये आपृतं निशीशयानम् अतिश्रमेण.
अह्नि आपृतं निशिशयानम् अतिश्रमेण.
लोकं विकुण्ठम् उपनेष्यति गोकुलं स्म.
लोकं विकुण्ठम् उपनेष्यति गोकुलं स्म.
गोपैः मखे प्रतिहते वज्रविप्लवाय.
गोपैः हते गोपैः मुखे प्रतिहते व्रज विप्लवाय.
देवे अभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरक्षुः.
देवे अभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरक्षुः.
धर्तः चिलीन्द्रम् इव सप्तदिनानि सप्त.
धर्तः छिलीनध्रम इव सप्तदिनानि सप्त.
वर्ष महेन्द्रम् अनग एककरे सलिलम्.
वर्षः महीध्रम अनघै एककरे सलीलम्.
नन्दं च मोक्षति भयात् वरुणस्य पाशात्.
नन्दं च मोक्षति भयाद् वरुणस्य पाशात्.
गोपान् बिलेषु पीतान् मयसूनुना च.
गोपान् बिलेषु पिहितान् मयसूनुना च.
अन्ये आपृतं निशीशयानम् अतिश्रमेण.
अहनि आपृतं निशिशयानमतिश्रमेण.
लोकं विकुण्ठम् उपनेष्यति गोकुलं स्म.
लोकं विकुण्ठम् उपनेष्यति गोकुलं स्म.
गोपैः मखे प्रतिहते व्रज विप्लवाय.
गोपैः मखे प्रतिहते व्रज विप्लवाय.
देवे अभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरक्षुः.
देवे अभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरक्षुः.
धार्तात् उच्छलीन्द्रम् इव सप्तदिनानि सप्त.
धर्त उच्छिलीन्द्रम् इव सप्तदिनानि सप्तवर्ष.
वर्षः महेन्द्रम् अनघ एककरे सलिलम्.
सप्तवर्ष महेन्द्रम् अनघ एककरे सलीलम्.
नन्दं च मोक्षति भयात् वरुणस्य पाशात्. गोपान् बिलेषु पीतान् मयसूनुना च. अन्ये आवृतं निशीशयानम् अतिश्रमेण. लोकं विकुण्ठम् उपनेष्यति गोकुलं स्म. गोपैः मखे प्रत्यते वज्रविप्लवाय. देवे अभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरक्षुः. धर्त उच्छिलेन्द्रम् इव सप्तदिनानि सप्तवर्ष महेन्द्रम् अनग एककरे सलिलम्. हरे कृष्ण.
हरे कृष्ण. नंदं च मोक्षति भयाद् वरुणस्य पाशात्. गोपान् बिलेषु पिहितान् मयसूनुना च. अहनि आपृतं निशिशयानमतिश्रमेण. लोकं विकुण्ठम् अपनेष्यति गोकुलं स्म. गोपः मखे प्रतिहते व्रज विप्लवाय. देवे अभिवर्षति पशून् कृपया रिरुक्षुः. धर्त उच्छिलिंद्रम इव सप्तदिनानि सप्तवर्ष महींद्रम अनघ एक करे सलीलम.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Lord Krishna saved his foster father Nanda Maharaj from the fear of demigod Varuna and released the cowherd boys from the caves of the mountain, for they were placed there by the son of Maya. Also to the inhabitants of Vrindavan who were busy working during daytime and sleeping soundly at night because of their hard labor in the day. Lord Krishna awarded promotion to the highest planet in the spiritual sky. All these acts are transcendental and certainly prove without any doubt his godhood. When the cowherd men of Vrindavan, under instruction of Krishna, stopped offering sacrifice to the heavenly king Indra, the whole tract of land known as Vraja was threatened with being washed away by constant heavy rains for 7 days. Lord Krishna, out of his causeless mercy upon the inhabitant of Vraja, held up the hill known as Govardhan with one hand only, although he was only 7 years old. He did this to protect the animals from the onslaught of water. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Nanda Maharaj, the foster father of Lord Krishna, went to take his bath in the river Yamuna in the dead of night, mistakenly thinking that the night was already over. Thus, the demigod Varuna took him to the Varuna planet just to have a look at the personality of Godhead Lord Krishna, who appeared there to release his father. Actually, there was no arrest of Nanda Maharaj. Why? Varuna, because the inhabitant of uh, Vrindavan were always engaged in thinking of Krishna, in constant meditation on the personality of Godhead, in a particular form of samadhi or trance of bhakti yoga. They had no fear of the miseries of material existence. In the Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that to be in association with Supreme Personality of Godhead by full surrender in transcendental love frees one from the miseries inflicted by the laws of material nature. Here it is clearly mentioned that the inhabitants of Vrindavan were extensively busy in the hard labor of their day's work. And due to the day's hard labor, they were engaged in sound sleep at night. So practically, they had very little time to devote to meditation or to the other paraphernalia of spiritual activities. But factually, they were engaged in the highest spiritual activities only. Everything done by them was spiritualized because everything was dovetailed in their relationship with the Lord Sri Krishna. The central point of activities was Krishna, and as such, the so called activities in the material world were saturated with spiritual potency. That is the advantage of the way of Bhakti Yoga. One should discharge one's duty on Lord Krishna's behalf, and all one's actions will be saturated with Krishna thought, the highest pattern of trance in spiritual realization. Children play with an umbrella, generally known as a frog's umbrella. And Lord Krishna, then, when he was only 7 years old, could snatch the great hill known as the Govardhan Parvat at Vrindavan and hold it for 7 days continuously with one hand, just to protect the animals and the inhabitants of Vrindavan from the wrath of Indra. The heavenly king who had been denied sacrificial offerings by the inhabitant of Vrajabhumi. Factually, there is no need of offering sacrifices to the demigods for their services if one is engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. Sacrifices recommended in the Vedic literature for satisfaction of the demigods are a sort of inducement to the sacrificer to realize the existence of higher authority. The demigods are engaged by the Lord as controlling deities of material affairs. And according to the Srimad Bhagavad Gita, when a demigod is worshipped, the process is accepted as indirect method for worshipping the Supreme Lord. But when the Supreme Lord is worshipped directly, there is no need of worshipping the demigods or offering them sacrifices. as recommended in particular circumstances. Lord Krishna therefore advised the inhabitant of Vrajabhumi not to offer any sacrifices to the heavenly king Indra. But Indra, not knowing only Indra in Vrajabhumi, was angry at the inhabitant of Vrajabhumi and tried to avenge the offense. But competent as the Lord was, he saved the inhabitant and animals of Vrajabhumi by his personal energy and proved definitely that anyone directly engaged as the duty of the Supreme Lord need not satisfy any other demigod, however great, even to the level of Brahma or Shiva. Thus, this incident definitely proved without a doubt that Lord Krishna is the personality of Godhead and that he was so in all circumstances as a child on the lap of his mother, as a boy 7 years old, and as an old man of 125 years of age. In either case, he was never on the level of the ordinary man. And when in his advanced age, he appeared a young boy, 16 years old. These are the particular features of transcendental body of the Lord. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Ena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namah Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaya Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guroho Sri Utapadakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavancha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sahadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakhanvitancha Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desha Tarine Vancha Kalpatarubecha Krupa Sindhube Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे कृष्णा. Today we continue Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2nd chapter 7 schedule incarnation and we try to understand shloka kramanka 31 and 32. In these shlokas describing about the Nanda Maharaj escapation from the Varuna's clutches and then the Govardhan-lila. Prabhuji will tell us in nicely. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So as we continue with the Krishna's appearance as he is, so we continue with his great leelas, which are so much divyas that you simply get engrossed completely the moment you start hearing about them. Here, two important pastimes are being coming: the deliverance of Nanda Maharaj from Varuna and blessing upon the supple cowherd men of Vrindavan. And second, the most important, Govardhan Hill lifting at the age of 7 to protect residents. Now, what these both do is they demonstrate that Krishna is Supreme Personality of Godhead beyond doubt. And highest spiritual realization comes through bhakti-yoga, not ritualistic sacrifices or demigod worship. Now, once when Nanda Maharaj, he mistakenly went for a early morning bath on the Ekadashi day, if I'm not wrong. And so, on the Dwadashi day, he was taken to the planet of Varuna. So now, that is something which is a lila again, because Varuna wanted to meet Krishna. So that is how it was arranged. So Krishna came personally and rescued him. Similarly, he rescued the cowherd boys who had been trapped in a cave by the son of Maya. To the simple cowherd men of Vrindavan, who are busy all day in hard labor and fast asleep at night, Krishna thus awarded the highest spiritual destination. So, what we learn from this is that everyday work can be spiritualized. Although the Vrajavāsīs had no time for formal meditation or ritual, their whole life was centered on Krishna. Therefore, their activities were saturated with spirituality. Secondly, bhakti yoga is always superior. Dovetailing all work for Krishna is the highest trance of spiritual realization. As Krishna himself mentions in the third chapter, 9th shloka, wherein he says, work as a sacrifice for Vishnu frees us from bondage. Now, that is very, very important aspect which we need to learn, where it is clearly mentioned by Krishna. Whatever we do, we have to do for Krishna. Yajna karma nanyatra lokayam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samacharaham. And as comes to the topic of the purpose of rituals, again here it is clearly mentioned in 15th chapter 15th shloka by Krishna that Vikti sacrifices, which are a part of karma kanda, they are meant only for gradual elevation. But the ultimate goal of all Vedas is to know Krishna. So Bhagavatam is confirming that any activity which leads to devotional service should be accepted. And that is the highest criteria of religion. Even if someone is born in a low family, he can become exalted if he chants the holy name. We'll be studying more about it in the third canto, wherein it is mentioned that self-realization is not ritualistic protection, but it is awakening our eternal relationship with Krishna. The reason behind this is that we are caught in the misery of material existence. Now, when it comes to the purport, Prabhupada ji is on the basis of what Shukdev Goswami ji is saying, contrasting spiritual Vrindavan life with the materialistic life as well. In the material world, everyone struggles for existence, and survival of the fittest is the test. In fact, we saw about it in the first canto, 15th chapter itself. So, this struggle arises because the soul forgets its eternal nature with Krishna and it wants to lord over the material nature, which is wrong. So, the moment we try to dominate, there's a domino effect. And what is the domino effect? The domino effect is that we get into karma bandhana. So, modern life, which is filled with anxiety, deadlines, competition, this is a symptom of this illusion only, Maya. So, this is all Brahma. And what happens is we get caught in it. Now, the Vrajavāsīs, they were never in such kind of a thing. They knew that Krishna is everything for them. Even if they had any problem, Krishna will protect them. That is what Krishna does all the time. So whether his father, he gets caught up by Varuna, or whether the cowherd boys, they get into any problem, like they get into caves or they have the Bakasur or any demon coming up, Krishna is always there. And that is what we need to learn from these Leelas. So the solution is the same as what Arjuna found, which is take shelter of Bhagavad Gita, which is the essence of Vedic wisdom. It guides us not only in philosophy, but also in life's critical moments. Again, a homework for today. Please refer back to the first canto, 15th chapter, 27th shloka. That shloka is a guidance for us on how we have to live life. So the Vrajavāsīs, as usual, they wanted to celebrate, they wanted to give oblations to Indradev. And Indra, He had become again arrogant, that every year I get oblations and then I give rains. So it was like, unless there are oblations, he will not give rain. But then Krishna saw through it. So he instructed the Vrajavāsīs to stop the Indra Yajna and instead worship Govardhan Hill. And he gave the reason that Indra is giving water, but who is giving the grass? Govardhan Hill. Who is there always for us? Govardhan Hill. So Govardhan is more important. Now, simple Vrajavāsīs, they could not say no to Krishna. So they agreed. And as a result, Indra did not get any oblations and he became furious. How come these people do like this? So in anger, he sent torrential rains for 7 days. And the moment there were rains, it started flooding. And all the Vrajavāsīs were terrified what to do. Krishna smiled and said, don't worry, just follow me. So in through those heavy rains and winds, everyone catching each other's hands, they came behind Krishna. Krishna came to the Govardhan Hill. And see what he did. He simply picked up the whole hill and he lifted it with his left hand on the little finger tip. And he kept holding it. It was like a child's umbrella. And he asked all the residents and animals to come in. And Indra, he kept on raining, and nothing happening. His whole illusion as well as ahankar was trashed. And Krishna simply kept holding the hill. Now look at the age, he's just 7 years old. So this pastime demonstrated his supremacy over Indra and all the other demigods. And look at the cowherd boys also. The cowherd boys were keeping their sticks on the hill, and then they were saying that Krishna was able to hold because we had held the hill with our sticks. And Radharani was also there to take the credit. We'll be discussing more about it when we come to the 10th canto. But look at the lessons we learn from Govardhan-lila. First foremost, that demigod worship is secondary, it is inferior, and at times it is not even required. All yajnas, all sacrifices, they are ultimately meant for Krishna. Again, 3rd chapter, 12th verse. So worship of demigods is only for those whose intelligence is stolen by material natures. Now, Krishna has been very, very careful when he has said this very clearly. And for that, he gives this discussion in the 7th chapter, 21st, 22nd, and 24th shloka, of which the 4th shloka is important. Antavattu phalam tesham tadbhavati alpamedhasam devana devayagyo yanti madbhakta yanti mamapi. Wherein he says that the men of small intelligence worship demigods, the fruits are limited, temporary. Those who worship demigods go to planets of demigods, but my devotees ultimately reach my supreme planet. So immediately the second lesson we get, temporary versus eternal results. So demigods grant only limited and temporary benedictions, while worship of Krishna grants liberation and eternal service, which is most important for us. Because finally we have all descended, we have all come from Golok Vrindavan, where we were serving Krishna. But then we made mistakes and we came here. Now this topic Krishna also touches in 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 21st to 24th shloka. Third is exclusive devotion. Krishna personally protects his devotees. To those who always worship me, I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. Krishna says this in the 22nd shloka of Bhagavad Gita, 9th chapter. Ananya chintayanto mam ye janha paryupasate tesham nitya abhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahami vaham. Fourth is Krishna's land is worshipable. Not only is God fit to be worshipped, but so is anything directly associated with him, and which includes his land also. Vrindavan is a sacred place precisely because bhakti flourishes there. Bhakti is prominent because the residents are always thinking of Krishna. So as God is worshipable, so is his land. And the first Govardhan Puja illustrates this principle. Fifth is, we can always extend full trust to Krishna. No matter what, Krishna is always there to protect us. This was an emergency situation. Indra's in clouds, normally reserved for end of creation. So tons of rain, more than any hurricane striking land. So there could have been doubt, but people trusted Krishna's direction. So they were threatened. There was a risk of instant death, but there was nothing to fear. Full trust and faith. So if we extend similar trust to Krishna, he'll protect us from all dangers. Here in this case, he solved the problem by lifting just the worshipped hill, because the land was not different from him. So we need to have full trust. So the Govardhan pastimes clearly proved without doubt that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, not only as child, but in all circumstances of his appearance. So Krishna has a unique position. Like we jivas, we remain, we grow, we then uh, 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 reproduce, procreate, then we vanish, and then we die. But Krishna never ages. His hair never turns grey, and his transcendental body remains eternally youthful. Even Brahma and Shivji cannot grant liberation, but Krishna can. So only devotional service we can transcend the modes of material nature and taste the nectar even in this life. So this is a unique position of Krishna. So what these two shlokas are trying to tell us is, first and foremost, we should dovetail our work. Whatever we do, job, family, service, it should be offered to Krishna. Then even simple activities become transcendental. Second is, reject profit-driven results. Sacrifices performed with material motives bind us further, while a true yajna is performed without desire for fruitive results. Third, take shelter of Bhagavad Gita. It is eternal guidebook left to us by Lord. So just as Arjuna found relief in his crisis, even we can. And fourthly, chant the holy name. The most practical yajna for this age, as given by Lord Chaitanya, is Sankirtan yajna, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This alone fulfills the ultimate purpose of Vedas. So these two shlokas, they are highlighting the two eternal fruits. One, the true spirituality lies not in rituals or external show, but in constant remembrance of Krishna and surrender to him. And secondly, Krishna alone is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, protecting his devotees, defeating the pride of demigods, granting liberation. So if you follow the example of Vrajavāsīs, working simply, living for Krishna, trusting his protection, we too can spiritualize our lives and attain the supreme destination, back to Godhead. So the life of Vrindavan shows us that the greatest spiritual achievement is not found in rituals or demigod worship, but in simple, wholehearted devotion to Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya.